Good morning, YouTube. It is Saturday morning here, and this is the third time I'm recording this video. I'm sorry it's taken me so long to get this video out to you. I've seriously been working on this for like 3 weeks now, I think. I talked way too much. I just fucking ramble. So I'm gonna try to keep this short. My goal is under 20 minutes. I don't know if I can do it. I'm already off to a really bad start because here I am just rambling to you right now. So we're gonna make this quick. I love to talk about water changes. It's like one of my favorite topics and also one of my least favorite topics because it's such like a contentious topic with people. The goldfish community and the tropical community tend to have very differing views on water changes, and it's a little bit of a sore subject for me, honestly. But I'm gonna try to not like super get into water changes today and like talking specifically about water changes, but what I'm gonna do today is show you guys how I do my water changes now. I've had a few requests for this video, and how I do my water changes now compared to the last time I did a water change video, which was actually my first video ever, is very different because obviously I've been in the hobby longer and I've learned more, and you know, whatever, we change. It's a evolving process, and if you stop learning, then you suck. If you stop learning, then, ooh, I just kicked my camera. You know, what's that gonna get you? Anyway, rambling. So we're gonna keep this short. So for goldfish tanks, the general recommendation is a 50 to 80% water change weekly. This is obviously going to change, you know, depending on your stocking and if your tank is cycled or not. And you know, like one fish in a 100-gallon tank, you might not need to do a 80% water change weekly. And if you have like 5 fish in a 30-gallon tank, you might need to do a more frequent water change. So you just need to use your brain a little bit on that one. I do about 70 to 80% weekly, typically actually every 5 days if I get around to it. Sometimes I go as long as 7, but usually it's every 5 days. I'm a little anal retentive about my water changes, as I am about most things. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll know that. So yeah, and then on my betta tanks, I do about a 50% change weekly. So a little bit lighter on those because obviously they're not very stocked. My primary reason for doing a 50% water change weekly is I'm dosing ferts, a lot of ferts, and I want to reset those at the end of the week. So I'm going to show you how I do my water changes. I am now using a pond pump in addition to a water changer. So let's talk about the water changer first. So this is the Aqueon water changer. This thing basically hooks up to your faucet, and many of you may know about these already. This, to me, being new to the hobby initially, was like a revelation. I honestly don't think that I would still be keeping fish if I didn't have one of these. This is honestly the best thing I've ever bought in terms of aquarium stuff, because buckets suck. I wouldn't have big tanks, and I don't think I would still be keeping fish because who the hell wants to do water changes with buckets? Nobody. If you're still using buckets, please get yourself one of these. It's fantastic. So this directly hooks onto your pump. There's a little switch here that directs the tap flow one way or another. If you direct it one way, it's gonna come out, your tap flow is actually going to come out the bottom here, and it's going to create suction on this tube so that you can then use this tube, and it, you know, has the gravel vac attached and everything, this part. So you use it basically just like you would a siphon if you're using siphon and buckets, but it's your tap water that's creating that pressure, and the water that you take out is going to flow right back into your sink, which is really awesome, so no buckets. And then when you want to fill the tank back up, you just switch the little thing, and it directs the tap flow right through the tubing and into your tank directly. So it's really awesome. So in addition to the water changer, so you can just use this on its own You use your gravel vac to vacuum the gravel. You know, use it to take out all the water, and then you just switch this switch and fill the tank back up. Now, in addition to the water changer, I have started using a pond pump. Let me find that for you. So this is my pond pump. It is an Aqueon pump. I think it's an Aqueon pond pump. I don't know. I got it at Petco. You can buy them online. I'll put a link in the comments, in the little comment section below with some links for pond pumps, but you can find them readily. It's a submersible pump, that's all it is. This one does about 600 gallons per hour, and basically what I do is I use the water changer to vacuum my gravel. So I use this part to vacuum my gravel first. You put, you know, this into the gravel, you allow a little bit of gravel to come up, then you release it and let the gravel fall back down. That cleans your gravel, gets all the gunk out of it. That's important in a goldfish tank, or basically any tank that isn't heavily planted. You want to make sure you're vacuuming your substrate. And then once I'm done vacuuming and I feel like I've gotten all the waste out that I want to get out, what I do is I throw this in the tank and plug it in, and this pushes the water out without having to use the tap for pressure. Alright, so I want to talk a little bit about why I really like using the pond pump instead of just the water changer alone. So for me and my tank, it's actually a lot faster to use the pond pump because I don't have great water pressure. So whether or not it's going to be faster for you and your tank is going to depend on, you know, what size pond pump you get. Mine runs about 600 gallons per hour. It's going to depend on what your tap water pressure is like. You know, possibly you have awesome water pressure and it's not much faster to use a pond pump. And, you know, I also really like that I don't have to use tap water to make that water pressure while I'm taking out the water. So with the water changer, you're having to run the tap to create that pressure, so you're really wasting a lot of water. With this, all I do is sit it in there, and my tap does not need to be on. This is doing all the work for me, so I'm not wasting any water by doing this. So, you know, like the slightly environmentally conscious part of me feels kind of good about that. The other reasons I like it is it's super safe. There's like no suction, so when you put this in the tank and turn it on, you don't feel any suction with your hands. So it's really safe for the fish. The fish aren't going to get sucked up into it. The only like slight concern I might have is if you have like teeny tiny fish, like fry maybe, they could swim into those little holes and get into the propeller, but other than that, your fish are really safe with this, as opposed to, you know, a water changer. What is that thing called? The gravel vac portion of your water changer. Fish can get sucked up into that easily, and especially if you don't have netting over it. You should always put netting over it. But yeah, the injuries can result from that thing. But this one, you can just throw it in the tank, and I like to throw it in and then do all my like wiping down the tank walls and plant maintenance, any sort of maintenance I need to do on the tank during a water change. This is doing all the work for me, and I have 2 free hands to do whatever else I need to do. And then the third reason that I really like this, and this might be my favorite reason actually, is that I actually leave this on when I fill up the tank. So when I'm ready to fill up the tank, I just unplug it. I leave this hooked up, and I run the tap water out through this. And that allows the water to be really dispersed nicely so that it doesn't disturb the substrate at all. So I was constantly having problems when I was using the water vac end of the water changer to fill up my tank, that, you know, if I didn't place it in exactly the right direction or against the tank wall or something like that, it would, you know, substrate would go flying because of the water pressure. But with this, I don't have to worry about it at all. I set it right directly on the substrate, and it just fills it up without disturbing anything, which is really awesome, especially if you have a planted tank. It's no fun to have to replant plants after a water change because your water made the plants go flying everywhere. So those are the reasons why I'm using a pond pump these days. All right, so here's my kitchen sink. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna actually just take off the part, you know, there's usually a part that screws off. If you don't have a part that screws off, you probably aren't going to be able to use a water changer. I don't know, maybe there's some way that you can do that. If there is, I don't know what it is, but generally you're gonna need a sink that has, you know, the little tap thing that screws off. And then the Aqueon water changer, I'm assuming all of them come with these sort of parts, but it comes with a few different little attachments that go onto the sink. So, you know, a lot of sinks are different, so you'll just have to figure out which one works best with your sink. If there isn't an attachment that comes with the water changer that you bought that fits your sink, you may be able to get one from Home Depot or Lowe's or, you know, whatever hardware store you have nearby you. So you may be able to rig it. You know, don't get the water changer and think, oh no, I can't use it, because there are ways to work around that. So you just have to get a little bit crafty sometimes. So then there's this piece that's going to go on there. And then this piece with the tubing hooks onto that whole thing. And now if I want to create suction, I'm going to turn that little knob so that it's facing up, turn on my faucet, and basically the water running out of there creates suction in the tubing, and that allows the gravel vac to work. If you want to fill up your tank, you just switch this to the other way, turn on the tap, and I have a lot of tubing, so it takes a little while. And there you go, the water comes right out. So this is a great little thing. I just need to attach my gravel vac part to this and we'll get started. the Goldfish water change, I'm just going to quickly show you a water change on this tank behind me here. So this is a really heavily planted betta tank, and I'm only going to show you this because I have a lot of people ask me often how you do a water change or how you vacuum the gravel or whatever in a heavily planted tank. And it's basically the same thing, the same principles apply. The only thing that's going to be a little bit different is oh my gosh, is instead of actually vacuuming the gravel and like getting deep in there, what you're going to do is just kind of skim over the plants, and like I try to get into the bushes and make sure there's no waste in there, but you know, you're not like getting deep into the gravel. In a planted tank, it's not as much of a concern if you have a little bit of waste in the gravel or substrate, whatever you're using, because there's plants in there and there's big root systems, and that waste over time will break down and the plants will use it as nutrients basically. So it's less of a concern if there's fish waste and stuff in the gravel or in the substrate in a heavily planted tank like this. You basically just want to get the obvious waste out. So we'll go ahead and do that. Alright, so I hope you guys found that helpful. I really tried to keep it short. I think I went over my 20 minutes a little bit, but I think I did pretty good. You can tell me. So I hope this was helpful for somebody, and if you have any questions or suggestions or anything you want to say, please definitely comment below. I also want to give a little shout out to Nick Mock 007, and I will put his name somewhere over here. He is really fantastic. Please check out his channel. He's very knowledgeable, and he has a great, very sciencey kind of perspective on things, which is really awesome, and I've really enjoyed his videos, so please definitely check him out. And then please do come find me on Instagram. I'm at Green Mountain Goldfish with little underscores under each word. I'm on Facebook at Green Mountain Goldfish. And you can also find me always on Coco's Goldfish Forum. Yeah, I hope you guys have a good weekend and enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you later.